This week on TGC News, New Hampshire lives free again, stopping a fight with a gun, and a Bolt Action Glock isn't just a meme anymore. The drive-by kit from RE Factor Tactical offers multi-mission capability for operating operationally from your vehicle. Whether it's to calm down your never-ending road rage, shut your stupid kids up, or actually using it properly, you decide the mission and load it up your way. Able to be detached with a quick pull of a tab, you can even take it with you for use outside the vehicle. Available in black, tan, and multicam, this mini kit is a great add-on to anyone's gear list. To get 10% off your entire order, click the link in the description to head over to refactortactical.com and use the code TGC10. Welcome back to TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is Jon Patton. Before we get into things this week, I want to say thank you to everyone that watches on YouTube. The TGC channel just hit 60,000 subscribers, and that's just flat out incredible in the short period of time that it's taken. If you aren't subscribed on YouTube, go do that. Now, this week's first story is about a state that voted for Hillary Clinton in the most recent presidential election, New Hampshire. Yup, the live free or die state went Hillary. Now, that's probably because of the bleed over of mass holes on the south side of the state, but I digress. New Hampshire has decided to show that it actually does like freedom, with Governor Sununu signing a bill into law that would grant people in the state of New Hampshire constitutional or permitless carry of a firearm, specifically a pistol or revolver. New Hampshire joins 11 other states in this freedom, such as Alaska, Mississippi, West Virginia, Maine, and Vermont, just to name a few. Now, I think this is an interesting topic among gun owners. I've heard talk from both sides of the aisle on this one. Some people are in support of this because, let's be realistic, 99.9% of the time you would never know if someone was carrying anyway, and criminals don't obey laws, so therefore having a permit becomes a moot point. Or, on the other side of things, some gun owners believe that we should in fact compromise and have regulations on the carry and possession of guns. And some even support the increase of state-mandated training required to acquire a permit to carry a gun. It's that old argument of comparing gun licensing to driver's licensing. I see the validity on both sides. You have the potential of creating better educated gun owners, which is not a bad thing, but forced education from the government is usually bloody awful, and at the same time, why should a natural right be regulated? It makes sense to me that constitutional carry is a growing trend. Personal responsibility for one's own safety is extremely important these days because when seconds count, police are just minutes away. And again, it's in the Constitution. That's your permit right there, right? What do you guys think? Do you support constitutional carry nationwide, or should we look into something like national reciprocity instead and have everybody get permits? Sound off in the comments section below. And in memes coming to life news, a company called Inlander Arms out of Morgan Hill, California, has dropped their new slide conversion to make a Bolt Action Glock 17 or 19. To be quite honest, the mounting is pretty janky and uses rubber spacers inside the aluminum frame of the Easy Bolt, and along with a smaller aluminum plate, clamps onto the slide into some sort of non-permanent fashion. I get that they don't want to screw up people's slides, but this seems a bit lazy. Now, I did talk to these guys, and they are working on some improvements to make this thing a little bit better before it actually comes to the market, but that remains to be seen. I get what they're doing because machining a custom slide would be really, really expensive and time-consuming to develop, so why not just use the factory slide that works, right? Anyway, the way this works is that once it's installed on the slide with the recommended 9-inch barrel, it will actually hit the frame on the recommended Polymer 80 or Lone Wolf 17/19 frame, preventing the slide from cycling until you lift the lever, pull the slide to the rear, and either load around manually or let it feed from a magazine like normal. Now, obviously, this is meant to deal with California BS, so I'm assuming that's why they're pushing non-Glock frames and also mentioning things like turning this into a single shot. They did tell me that this will work with a factory frame. I think we can all agree that as a defensive gun, this would be useless, but it is another way to stick it to politicians that try to regulate firearms unnecessarily. And although it is kind of a bit unrefined, shall we say, at this point, I think it would be fun to have one of these around as kind of a check this out type thing, much like my stupid 4-inch barrel 5.56 that I call Project Atrocious. Now, what I do find interesting is that even though California is not alone in BS regulations of guns, it seems to be the only place innovating to fight back and kind of get around those regulations. Where are my New York and Massachusetts guys with products like this? I don't really see any. If you guys out there know of people making products like this in those other states, let me know in the comments. I want to hear about it. Now, for our good guy with a gun story for the week, this is an interesting one, and I'm curious to see what you guys think of how this goes down. Transport yourself to a Walmart in Topeka, Kansas at 4 p.m. on a Saturday. That sounds kind of awful, right? Well, it doesn't really get any better. Two men started fighting in the store for an unreported reason, and the fight actually spilled out into the parking lot when one of the men started moving towards his vehicle to retrieve a bat and was stabbed by the other man. Wow. He did end up making it to the car, grabbed the bat, and then started chasing the man with the knife around the parking lot. It was at this point that a third guy, only described as an older white male, drew his gun and told the men to stop fighting, and apparently that worked. According to witnesses, he also ordered the guy with the knife to lay on the ground until the cops showed up. Now, here's why I think this is interesting. A fight breaks out at a Walmart and two dudes are chasing around each other with weapons in the parking lot. And this concealed carry permit holder decides to intervene. It's difficult to definitively say that he did or did not make the right call because we're missing a lot of context, like how close were those two guys that were fighting to him, but was it the right move for him to get involved? You could theorize that he saved both of their lives based on the escalation of the situation that was already happening, but was it necessary to introduce a gun into a fight that frankly did not involve him? Did this guy do the right thing? You guys know the drill. Let me know down in the comments what you think he did right or what he did wrong. And while you're doing that, be sure to stick around until after the break for the return of Friendly Fire.
Cleaning a gun stinks unless you're using Breakthrough Clean's odorless and non-staining solvents and lubricants to tackle your gun cleaning needs. Be sure to check out their military-grade solvent, battle-borne oil and grease, or even the HP Pro for extreme conditions. If you asked and your local shop isn't carrying them, head on over to breakthroughclean.com and use the code TGC10 to get 10% off your order.
It's been a few weeks since we did a Friendly Fire segment, so I'm bringing it back with 3 questions from the TGC Facebook page. The first one is from Jimmy Baldwin, and he asks if the Micro Roni, that Glock adapter thing, is worth the tax stamp and if it's useful. And the simple answer is nope, not with the advent and improvements we're seeing from pistol caliber AR style carbines. I mean, they're awesome right now and they all feed from Glock mags. Like, what's the point of SBRing your Glock if you don't have to? I just don't see the point in it. Our next question is from Joe Sharp Jr., and he says, you have one firearm and are allowed one upgrade/accessory. What is it? Again, that's very simple. An AR-15, probably something on the nicer end of the spectrum, and I'd throw an aftermarket trigger in there, or probably a Geisley or a CMC. The third question is from Craig Valentine, and he asks, when are gun manufacturers going to get off their butts and start putting ambi safeties on their weapons? He mentions the Springfield Saint, so I'm going to assume that he's referencing ARs here. My answer to that is, I don't know, man. I personally think that it would be a smart thing, but penny-pinching manufacturers would make claims that ARs have been mostly right-handed for years, and it's easier to just make them that way, I guess. I don't quite understand it. I think you're right. I think ambi safety should be a thing. That should be like normal. Listen up, manufacturers. This is your audience. This is your market right here, talking to you, telling you what they want. Pay attention. Now, my Friendly Fire question to you guys this week. Are you going to be at the NRA annual meeting in Atlanta at the end of April this year? I've got some very, very special things happening at that event, and I want to meet as many of you as possible. So if you're going, let me know down in the comments. And if you want your question answered right here on the show, you can head over to theguncollective.com and go to the Friendly Fire page to send me your questions. And unfortunately, that is it for this week's show. Guys, you know what to do. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you didn't, let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't yet, get subscribed. You won't want to miss a single week of the show. If you want to support TGC directly, you can go over to our merch store and grab one of these sweet t-shirts. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. The shirts worn in today's episode of TGC News were provided by Patriot Patch Company. Click the link in the description to learn more.